Happy New Year, my friends. Wow, I cannot believe it is already 2023. 2022 just flew by. It is just so wild to me, but I really just hope that you had an incredible holiday season. I know for me, I focus on being present with my family, and it was just wonderful. But that being said, since this is the new year, I know you're probably thinking about tax season and getting organized and all the things, right? So I figured this would be a great time to just take you behind the scenes a little bit and share what bank accounts I actually have set up in my business so everything is organized and runs effectively and efficiently. So go ahead and grab a notebook and pen so you can get these set up in your own business. And then once you do that, we will dive on in. Hey Queen, welcome to Reclaim to Reign. I'm your host, Hannah Brindley, daughter of the King, certified life coach, and faith-fueled business mentor. I know you are so sick of feeling like you worked so hard in your business with little to no reward while staying in this same cycle of self-sabotaging tendencies you know are keeping you stuck. And because of that, I know you are craving to end this never-ending cycle of self-destruction and cultivate a successful, Holy Spirit-led business without letting it become your idol. So if you are ready to be fueled by faith over flesh, fight your battles spiritually instead of physically, take bold action on your God-given callings, and finally create that thriving, faith-fueled business, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and reheat your coffee, grab a notebook and pen, and let's dive in. I really hope that I don't need to tell you the importance of having a business checking account. But if this is news to you, please know that it is extremely important to have a separate checking account for your business and making it totally separate from your personal checking account. Now, personally, I just use the same bank as I do for my personal checking account, but that is totally up to you. It is a personal preference, but I just find using the same bank easier when it comes to checking accounts. Now, that being said, I highly recommend you have at least one business checking account set up if you plan on making money this year, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably do, right? So I will say, depending on the state, I believe that you don't have to file taxes unless you have made a certain amount of money in the year. I believe in Georgia, it's $600, but please don't quote me on that. Okay, I am not a CPA. I am not a bookkeeper. I'm not giving tax advice here. So definitely get in touch with your CPA or bookkeeper to determine this for yourself. Now, if you need a CPA or bookkeeper, feel free to send me an email or an Instagram DM. I have a bookkeeper and a CPA that I have been using for a few years now, and I highly recommend them. You actually work with them separately, but when tax time comes around, they work incredibly well together, making the whole process just super simple. I cannot recommend them enough. I'm always super stressed around tax season, but they have just made it so simple and I don't have to stress, and it is wonderful. Now, that being said though, I am going to recommend that if you are making money in your business, you need to have that one business checking account, okay? So at least start there, okay? I'm going to be telling you all the accounts that I do have, but at least have that one business checking account. And then when you actually start bringing in a full-time income online or, wherever your business is, I'm going to recommend that you set up these other accounts in addition to that one business checking account. So first things first, we are going to start with checking accounts, okay? So for checking accounts, I actually have two for my business. The first one is my income checking account. Now, the income checking account is where all of my income comes in. So all of the money that I am collecting in my business goes into this account. Now, the really cool thing about this account is that you don't actually need a debit card because all you will be doing is having money transferred in. So when people pay you, this money gets transferred into that account, and then you will actually be transferring money out of this account and dispersing it to other accounts that are used. So essentially, you would pay yourself from this account so you can transfer money from the income checking account to your personal account. And then you can also transfer funds from this account to your savings accounts, which I have a couple, and I'm going to get to in just a minute. And I have savings accounts separate for my business. I also have a separate savings account for my personal, but like I said, we will get to that in just a moment. Now, the other purpose for this account is that you can actually transfer money out of the income account into your operations checking account, which I'm going to talk about now. So this is checking account number 2 for my business. It is the operations account. So the operations checking account is the account that, my business expenses are taken out of. So essentially, this is the only business account that I have a debit card for. So all of my subscriptions, my investments, etc., it comes out of this account. So just as a recap, I have 2 business checking accounts. I have one for my income. This is where all of my money comes in. And then I have an operations checking account, and this is where all of my money goes out. So you may be wondering, why do I like to split up the 2? Now, this is just a personal preference, but I personally love being able to see the funds coming in separately from the funds coming out. Now, in addition, let's just say someone gets my debit card number from my operations account and there are fraudulent charges on there. If I have only transferred the amount of funds that I need for my operations, so basically for all of my expenses that I need to run my business, they can't actually get the funds that are in the income account because I haven't transferred it over. And so that is actually where my, what I pay myself is in the income account, right? So they're not actually getting what I'm paying myself. They're only getting that certain amount. Now, of course, you can always get your money back by doing fraudulent charges, but this is just another layer of protection. So for me, I just appreciate that it's just more safe having the 2 split because I'm actually not using the income account anywhere, right? I'm not, charging anything on that account. So it's going to be a lot harder for people to actually get that account info unless they are just hacking into the bank account. So for me, it just makes the most sense in my mind to have 2 separate accounts. It works really, really, really well for me. And again, I just like seeing it separate like that in addition. So it just works. Now, next up, we actually have savings accounts. So in addition to my personal savings accounts, because I also have some of those, I have 2 savings accounts that I recommend that you have for your business. So the first one is your tax savings accounts. Now, again, I am not a CPA or a bookkeeper. I'm not giving tax advice, but you need a place where you are putting money back for your taxes. Now, all of my savings accounts are actually in high yields savings accounts, which means that interest accrues over time and I actually make money for having money in there. So all of my savings accounts, personal and business, are located in Capital One. They have a really great high yield savings account and I highly recommend it. Now, that being said, I do have multiple savings accounts in there because I like to, save for different things, right? But 2 are for my business specifically. And again, the first one is for tax savings. So make sure you're putting money back for that. And then the second one is called the Hills and Valleys Fund. Okay, so it's called the Hills and Valleys Fund. Now, I actually saw the idea for this savings account from someone on Instagram. I was just scrolling through. I saw it and I loved it, but I'm going to be honest, I don't remember who talked about this. So I apologize for that. But if you know who it is, please let me know. I'd love to give them credit. It is such a great idea. But essentially, the concept is that the Hills and Valleys Fund is a savings account for your business when you are going through some valleys, right? So as a business owner, it's very likely that your income is going to be different every month. And the idea here is that when you have good months or a really great month, you put aside money in this account to help you when you are going through some not so great months. So let's say when you have the best month you've ever had financially, you will obviously put aside a lot more so that when you have a not so good month, you can take money out of that fund. Now, this is a little bit different than the standard like emergency fund, right? Like emergencies are like if your car breaks down or something like that. This is more so to keep you from going in the red just on a typical month. So as a recap, we've got 2 business checking accounts. One for income, that's where your money comes in. One for operations, that's where your money goes out. And then we've got 2 savings accounts. One for tax savings, so you're going to be putting money back from the income account into the tax savings account. And then you've got your Hills and Valleys fund, where you are going to put money back when you are on a hill so you can actually pull from it in your valleys so you don't go in the red when you have a not so great month. Now, all that being said, please don't feel like you have to have all of these accounts just because this is what I do. Please do what is best for you. This just helps me get really organized and helps me visually see just where my money is going and what it's being used for instead of just having one business account. But again, please do what is best for you. Contact your bookkeeper, contact your CPA, take what works for you and leave what doesn't. So that concludes today's episode. I really do hope this blessed you and gave you some ideas for your own business. Now, if you have any questions over this whatsoever, or you just want to let me know that you will be implementing something that you learned from this episode, please join our Facebook group. If you want to join, you can do so by heading to the link that's in the show notes. I really do love interacting with you over there. Now, in addition, if you love this podcast and you love content like this, then you have got to get on the list for Make It Rain Mail so you can get faith-fueled life and business coaching delivered straight to your inbox. You can do so by heading to bit.ly/powerprompts. That's bit.ly/powerprompts. That's PROMPTS. I also have the link for you in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you in the Facebook group and in my inbox. Bye, friends. Hey Queen, don't head out just yet. If this podcast has blessed you in some way, it would mean the absolute world to me if you left a written review of the show over on Apple Podcasts. It truly lights a fire in me knowing how God has impacted you through this platform. And since I absolutely adore connecting with you, please, please, please screenshot this episode or your review and post it on your stories on Instagram and tag me at Hannah Brindley. I can't wait to see you over there. So much love to you.